heading to Long Beach, California's Recreation Park bandshell spot for more footage of his superpower. A switch frontside flip knows, wait, are those Chanel socks? Hello, and thank you for joining another episode of Dumb Data, where we break down the numbers so you don't have to. In this breakdown, we'll take a look at Floridian John DiLorenzo, aka Dilo's Red Tiger Almost part, filmed by Devin Lopez. Before we dive into Dilo's part, Thrasher Skater of the Year finalists are now posted on the website, and the 6 names are pretty much in line with what was expected. I saw Jack O'Grady's passport video, which came out back in March of this year, and if he wins solely from that part, which included a Thrasher cover of that double rail 50-50, it's arguably understandable. But I don't see people being able to remember such an early part after being bombarded with end-of-the-year footage. As we've discussed, Mark Suciu put out more footage in terms of quantity than any skater this year, and maybe ever in such a short time frame, and the internet has taken notice. Felipe Nunez's part is inspiring, and he gets a clip with the Birdman himself, but I'm not sure the votes will quite stack up in his favor considering what he's competing with this year. We've also covered Yuto's Spitfire part trick by trick, and after reading a lot of your comments, I've come to agree that contests, at least in the eyes of Thrasher magazine, don't really matter, especially when you consider people like Nija's history of SLS domination. But I will say this, the amount of people who watch SLS every year is, what, maybe 500,000 to 1 million at most? According to a quick Google search, 275 million people in Europe alone watched the 2020 Olympics, and Yuto beat Nija and everyone else in front of that audience, which was an audience that saw skateboarding on this stage for the first time ever. If the continued growth of skateboarding skyrockets from the Olympics, and Yuto was the first ever to win it, doesn't that mean something for making waves this year? Even if it doesn't, Yuto still put out 2 heavy parts this year in the actual streets, and even though the tone-deaf song choice and expensive clothing is distracting for the Spitfire part, the homie dropped some heat, and dare I guess he filmed all that footage after the Olympics? Anyway, I've actually changed my mind from voting for Yuto, even though I love him, because I do agree that Thrasher's SOTY title is about what you do in the streets, not in contests. Does that mean I'm voting for Mark? Honestly, I can see Mark Suciu doing exactly what he did this year again next year, and maybe even increase his productivity to 30+ minutes of footage. Yes, Mark's line at the New York City courthouse to Blubba, his clinic on the Blubba, and his rail destruction montage in Flora 3 is without a doubt SOTY caliber content, but there's still John Dilo and Chima Ferguson we need to address. So without further ado, let's jump into Dilo's part. First impression, wow. Apart from Dilo's bunt interview, the only things I'd seen from him were a China trip part and his underwhelming presence at SLS. After watching Red Tiger, John Dilo's performance definitely has my attention. This dude might have achieved an NBD or 2 in the part, and Dilo's got himself some style, along with pop. But enough of my aimless blabbering. Let's get to the tricks. Lines. John comes through with 8 lines, starting on a flat ground twofer, filmed on either 8mm or 16mm film, where we get a beastly switch flip over a bench, immediately followed by a switch heel flip. Executing his flip tricks with absolute precision, Dilo's second line begins with a nollie flip up and over the ledge into the asphalt soccer court prior to a kickflip frontside tail slide to fakie ledge maneuver. Proving that flat ground, done well enough, can be used exclusively to make an impressive line in a pro part. Dilo's kickflip, nollie backside flip, and switch heel combine for a delicious trio that go nicely with his smile. The next line is where John's unique strength, high-tech manuals begin to shine in his part. Kicking off with a fakie flip manny that precedes a split-second foot shuffle leading into a switch frontside 180 nose manual nollie backside flip out. Somehow seeming to momentarily defy gravity, Dilo's fifth line features a frontside 180 fatty to flatty over the handrail before flexing on the photographer with a frontside half cab flip on flat. Line number 6 depicts Dilo with another frontside 180, this time up a 3-stair. Then switch frontside flipping over an apartment handrail. Dilo's second to last line is initiated by a fakie flip up a couple stairs at a good clip, and without a push, we're met with a pleasantly surprising switch hard flip gapper. The final line of Red Tiger is one that I'm guessing wasn't intended to actually be a line, but when Dilo kickflipped this insane gap to drop over a rock climbing wall, he celebrated with a perfect nollie frontside flip. Single shots. 8 lines is solid for a skate park, but Dilo definitely delivers in the single shots department with 35 total tricks. The first single shot makes it very clear we need to put our seatbelts on, because Dilo ain't letting his foot off the gas for a second, and in what might be a Macba Barcelona Spain NBD, we're ocularly assaulted with a switch ollie gap to drop to switch manny switch flip to smile out. Say what? A Silver Lake Church-based switch ollie fatty to flatty warms us up for a double take-worthy ollie nose manny to nollie up a ledge to nose manual nollie flip out. Note the lack of sweat on his gray shirt, hinting Dilo might have around and landed this in a few tries. A fakie backside nose slide nollie heel to fakie gets implemented on a curvy ledge before we cut to a straight-on nose grind shove out on a loading dock situation. Dilo catches this switch tray with both feet before he's halfway through jumping damn near 10 feet past the bottom stair of this 7-something set. A boosted Baker Maker fakie ollie on this gap to drop in Sambas confirms Dilo must have heels of steel to take that type of beating to the feet in soccer shoes. Did this nollie flip bounce off the handrail? This nollie backside heel over the gate reveals that Dilo's showing love for Thrasher via the deck sticker that he placed on top of his regular sponsor stickers. Coincidence? Getting just as much of a view of the nasty garbage as we do with Dilo, the nollie frontside 180 kicker to flat gap at first had me thinking he flipped his board. But after several rewinds, the fact remains the board did not flip. This switch frontside heel with a couple cuffs probably wasn't too much of an issue for Dilo based on the absence of visible sweat. Heading to Long Beach, California's Recreation Park bandshell spot for more footage of his superpower. A switch frontside flip nose, wait, are those Chanel socks? A switch frontside flip nose manual to nollie backside 180 up the stairs is not something you see every day, folks. Pulling up to put down a polarizing slide to manual combo, Dilo's frontside tail slide kickflip nose manual verifies that his socks are not Chanel, they're 561 skate shop socks, one of Dilo's sponsors. A switch backside 180 nose manual gets the nollie heel flip treatment off this thigh-high ledge, making use of this cute little gate that I can only guess is used to keep the lawn gnomes from invading. Dilo fakie flip switch mannies into traffic, then switch frontside 180 nose mannies to nollie flip manuals. One little gripe I have with this spot is the angle at which this was filmed. It looks like Dilo taps all 4 wheels after the nollie flip to manual, which I doubt is what actually happened, but we the viewer would be able to better distinguish this if the filming was at a lower angle shooting straight on instead of looking down. What might be the most high-tech manny trick in Red Tiger, Dilo's fakie tray, fakie manny, fakie tray made Kelly Hart steal the DeLorean and flux capacitate his way to prevent this from happening.
Someone's trying fakie tray, fakie manny, fakie tray out. Well, what are we waiting for? Come on, let's go! That's what I'm saying, dude, we gotta go!
Sure, I'll nose manny the side of an angled roof, said no one ever except John Dilo. Fakie flipping a gap on the session with TT Gourmet is just another day in the life with John DiLorenzo. Opting to spin his board instead of flip it, Dilo frontside bigs down a 4-block somewhere outside of the States probably. Dilo stretches out his lateral game with a switch frontside flip over the handrail, and satisfies the OCD watchers like myself with a symmetrical backside version at another spot. Thanks to the editing choices of Bobage, that trick reflection is repeated in nollie stance down some stairs. Brazilian Yuri Ficini almost grazes his knuckles on the ground with how low he keeps his hands on this big spin frontside board slide.
Watch out, oh watch out, oh watch out.
Can't forget to throw a Thrasher t-shirt clip in if you're gunning for SOTY. An elementary school switch flip wheelchair ramp send looks nice with this hilly backdrop. 2 more back-to-back hucks show that Dilo can handle a big frontside flip in both regular and fakie stances, completely fulfilling all 4 frontside kickflip variations down something. Continuing the trend of pairing similar tricks back-to-back, Dilo switch flips out of a fakie nose grind, and then fakie flips out of a fakie 5-0 at this massive ledge at Horace Mann Middle School in Los Angeles. Keeping the ledge train rolling, along with a soda can, Dilo takes us back to Barcy and nollie frontside flips out of this frontside nose grind at Machba. Nose manual nollieing down the same East LA college set Yuto shoved in his Spitfire part, Dilo takes a trick from his boss fight part to the next level. Paying respect to Tommy Sandoval's ender in the Zero Damn It All video, Dilo nollie frontside 180s up and over this massive 6 block in Tijuana, Mexico. Finishing off the Red Tiger part is Dilo's huge switch heel flip gap ender. Dilo's switch heels are really something else, man. Best Banger Award. The nose manual nollie flip out was so unexpected, and it's hiding near the beginning of the part. Given not only the level of difficulty, but the sincerely unique nature of this manual combo, I'd argue that this was the most noteworthy clip of the part, just edging out that first switch manual drop switch flip Machba clip, which was also knucking futs. Do without award. Nothing really specific jumps out as being unnecessary in this part. The only qualms I have after watching the video was that maybe some of the tricks could have been replaced with others to avoid repetition. 9 tricks were done more than once in this part, including the switch frontside flip, nollie frontside 180, nollie backside flip, and fakie flip. 3 of those 9 tricks, the kick flip, frontside 180, and switch heel flip, were featured 3 times. I don't know, Dilo can switch hard flip gaps. Can we get a nollie hard flip or an inward heel anywhere? Chima Ferguson. Admittedly, I've been completely ignorant not only to Chima Ferguson's work on a skateboard this year, but him and what he's done in general. After watching his Vans Nice to See You part, finding out he had an epically later done on him 6 years ago, learning that he's humble.
Chima's been at the top of where I've gravitated to. He'll do the gnarliest thing, and he'll come over, he'll be talking to you or I, and it's like, he's in casual clothes. You don't even know if he skated. He just lets his skating talk, then he's a human on the other side of it.
And seeing that he's 32, it can be confirmed I've been sleeping on Chima. I know Jack O'Grady skated the same Martin Place spot as Chima, but dude, Chima ollied that double set, a 9 flat 8 at 30 plus years old. That's incredible. And is it not an NBD? And if that's Chima's son in the intro, he gets extra respect points for nonchalantly ripping on rad dad duty through Sydney with a smile on his face. Chima's skating is so smooth, fast, simple, and heavy at the same time, and in a much more relatable way than Yuto's otherworldly acrobatics. I just learned about Chima and instantly became a huge fan. Dilo's Red Tiger part, 561 part, Recreation Park Bandshell Session vid, Flora 2 part, and the Almost Rosarito video are all great, but it's a lot of the same moves at different spots. You can crunch numbers all day and argue about productivity needing to be considered above flashy outfits, how much someone deserves to win SOTY based on the past, but there's this instinctive feeling after watching Chima's Vans part that washed away all the internet noise about who should win. And on top of all that, the Madman dropped a slightly forgettable but respectable real part after Suciu's Flora 3 and Dilo's Red Tiger part came out. And that's why I'm casting my vote for SOTY 2021 to Chima Ferguson. At the end of the day, none of this is really a big deal, and whoever wins out of these 6 skaters deserves the award. Hopefully we can continue to see more skating from Chima and all the other finalists, and I'm stoked to be able to gobble up all these shredders skate footage in 2021. If you enjoyed these top takeaways from John Dilo's Red Tiger video, be sure to check out some of the other breakdowns on the channel. Thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to Dumb Data, click the notification bell to stay on top of new episodes, and drop a like if you enjoyed this breakdown. See you on the next Dumb episode.